So you're new to Genshin, you do a 10 pull on the current banner, and while you don't get a 5-star, you do get 4-star Kujou Sara. Now what do you get with Sara besides a general in the Tenryou Commission, as well as somebody that has pledged their loyalty to Raiden Shogun herself? Well, Sara is a bow-wielding Electro user who is actually pretty good at buffing other characters, especially somebody like Raiden Shogun. I'm Kessie, Mango, whatever the hell you want to call me. And because not everybody is AR60 with 36-star Abyss, I decided that I was going to make videos that hopefully anybody can understand. So if you do learn something from this video, do be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And with that, let's get into this video. Now, I am borrowing my wife's account again because my Sara is C6, and making a beginner guide video with a C6 Sara would change her playstyle just a little bit. So I am going to be using my wife's C1 Sara. Let's look at the build first before we get into the video, just like we do in every single video. So as you can see, level 40 out of 40 with 439 attack, not too high. 7 out of 59.9, and then I have a Favonius Warbow on her for some energy recharge. Well, my wife does. Like I said, Favonius Warbow, level 40. This will actually be the artifact set for beginners, but we'll talk about that later on. The only thing that C1 really does is it just changes the cooldown of her skill, so that is okay. That's not going to be a major component in this, like if she was C6, and then 111. So let's get into the guide talking about her skill and her burst. Okay, so first we're going to look at her normal attacks. Her normal attacks are pretty standard for a bow user. Your autos are going to do a little bit of physical damage. A fully charged shot is going to do the element of that character. In Sara's case, it's Electro. And a little bit more damage. Now we're going to get to her skill. Now her skill is going to do a little bit of a backwards teleport. Like that, but now you see that Sara has this thing glowing on her wrist, but nothing else really changed. Well, whenever you do a charge shot, it places that little circle, and it does an AoE electro damage whenever it explodes. Now there is something else with that skill. If we use it again, any character inside the AoE will have their attack buffed. You see that Sara has those yellow arrows around her going up. That means that she is receiving an attack buff from herself. If we swap characters, the character on the field will now get the attack buff, and it lasts for 6 seconds. With her first passive getting her to level 40, which if you've done her trial, you can at least take her to level 40, even if you are not to Inazuma. Whenever you do her skill, whenever she's in that first half of her skill, the aimed shot charge time is decreased by 60%. So it's not too difficult to get the charge shot to then place the circle to get the buff and the AoE electro damage. Okay, so now we're going to talk about her burst. Now her burst is going to do one big instance of electro AoE, and then it's going to spread out almost in like a T shape, like a cross shape. So you see there was the first initial one, and then you see it goes out. Now you also notice that Sara has those arrows on her going up. That is because her burst also buffs as well. So if we use her burst and then swap immediately, now Raiden has the buff instead of Sara, even without using the skill. Any character that is going to be within that kind of T-shaped AoE from her burst is going to get the buff. So now you see what I mean whenever I say she's really good at buffing characters. Now, her buff is based on her attack. However, it is not based on this number right here. It is based on this white number right here, which is Sara's base attack plus the base attack of her weapon. Artifacts do not affect this number. So when we look at her skill and look at what the attack buff ratio is, it is taking it from this number of 265. So on her skill, you see right here, attack bonus ratio, 43%. 43% of that white number is going to go to whatever character takes the field, or Sara herself if you leave her on the field. So now we're going to look at beginner artifact set. So for a beginner artifact set, Exile is going to be your best set to get a full support build Sara. Now, not only does it get her own energy recharge up, which just allows her to use her burst more, using her burst regenerates 2 energy for all party members, excluding the wearer, every 2 seconds for 6 seconds. So that will help keep everybody else's burst more ready to go as well. For artifact main stats, attack percent on the sands if you can, An electro damage bonus on the goblet if you can. I don't think she has an electro damage bonus goblet for... No. So she is running another attack percent sands just to get up her personal damage. And then for a circlet, if you can do crit rate or crit damage, do it. Because, again, having attack percent does not help her buff. So actually building her to do some damage can actually be really, really good. But as always, the 4-piece set is probably going to be more important than the individual stats. So just to use those stats if you have the option. So if you have completed Mondstadt's story quest, the Archon quest, you will get a Favonius Warbow for free. Using that for Sara can be good because it allows you to use her burst more. It'll also go well with the Exile set, and it has a decently high base attack for her buff. Now, there are other ones out there. So if you have been doing pulls on this current banner or on the weapon banner for some reason, you might have a Rust. Now, a Rust is going to have a higher base attack, and it is going to increase Sara's personal damage, but you are going to be losing out on the energy recharge from the Favonius Warbow. Now, of course, if you have Favonius Warbow on somebody else and you're just looking for something like a 3-star, then doing like a slingshot or a sharpshooter's oath, really just kind of anything can be fine for her. That's crit rate or crit damage or attack percent. But if you do not have the Fav Warbow on another character, using it on Sara can be really, really good. So for a beginner-friendly party, it's a little bit harder to make one with Sara because Sara is just supposed to be buffing your team. Now, you can build Sara to do some respectable damage, just like you can with any character, but having Sara with Zhang Ling will be good because you can use her buff to get Zhang Ling's attack up. Having a healer with Barbara, as well as allowing you to do some electrocharge, can also be pretty good. And then having Lynette just kind of to have some crowd control with her burst, as well as being able to swirl different elements around with like her burst picking up Electro to go with Zhang Ling or Hydra to go with Barbara can be good. Now, Zhang Ling is going to be your main damage dealer in this team. Sara is just for buffing. So let's see what we can do if we use this party. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get Barbara's healing going. I'm going to drop Guoba. I'm going to change to Zhang Ling so Zhang Ling can get the attack boost. Get some overload reactions going on. Let's go ahead and use Sara's burst right there. Keep Barbara around for party-wide healing. I need to get her burst ready to go. Oop. Remember to always swap characters so that way we can get the buff on the right character. Oop, I picked up the Hydra, which is fine. Get some crowd control. Get some electrocharge going on. Kind of use Lynette's burst to get everybody together. Try and get a bunch of overload reactions with positioning. Now in there we were using Sara probably a little bit more than we should have been. We probably should have been using Zhang Ling to do more damage, but this video is about Sara, so I was trying to keep Sara on the field as much as possible. But in a normal team, you would be using Sara to buff Zhang Ling, and then using Lynette to kind of crowd control, as well as absorb an element with her burst, and then Barbara just for healing. So Zhang Ling would be your main damage dealer and Sara being buffing, but I wanted to keep Sara on the field as much as possible just because she is the main focus of this video. And that is going to be it for this beginner guide to Sara. If you do have any questions, do be sure to leave it down in the comments, and I will be sure to answer them, and I will see you in the next video.